It's a Saturday morning, Lazarus Saturday. We celebrate in the monastery of Jesus Christ Resurrection Association of the Russian Church in Bethany. Many Russian pilgrims have arrived and are already beginning preparations for Mass.
Today in the Orthodox Church is the Saturday of St. Lazarus, the Resurrection of Lazarus, which is one of the greatest of miracles of the Lord, which also foretold the general resurrection of Christians that will happen at the end of time, and also foretold his resurrection, which happened a week later. So today, since this miracle happened here in Bethany, and we have this Russian convent here in Bethany, and every year on this day we have a large feast day, which many people come, and we serve Divine Liturgy, where the faithful partake in Holy Communion here at this holy place.
Bethany is located on the eastern slope of the Mount of Olives. Its name is derived from Lazarus, whom Jesus restored to life. Today is a celebration for the whole town. The sisters who live in the monastery model Lazarus in their services.
About the feast today, it's Lazarus. It's the feast of Bethany. It's not only the feast of our place here, and it's Lazarus. It's an amazing figure in the gospel. First of all, he experienced death and came back. He was resurrected, and this is where God is showing His divine power, calling him from the dead. On the other hand, Lazarus was a friend to Christ, and this is very important. This is what you kind of, for me, it's always an example. This is what you can experience when you are a friend of Christ. Then you will be resurrected, even when you are 4 days old dead.
In Bethania, Jesus said, "He who believes in me will live, even though he dies, and whoever lives and believes in me will never die." Jesus restored Lazarus after 4 days. He came back to life again. This gives life and hope to everyone.
The story of the raising of Lazarus can give hope to Christians in the Holy Land. Lazarus was dead. He was dead for 4 days. There was no question that his life had expired when Christ came and raised him. It's important that he did this as one of his last miracles before his passion and resurrection, to give people an understanding that no matter how difficult our lives can be, Christ will always be with us, and he will always grant those who seek a better life, those who wish to live in the risen Lord, a chance at success, a chance at resurrection, a chance at a new life. The situation for the Christians in the Holy Land is extremely difficult at the moment, and we can understand from the story of Lazarus that we do have hope, and we do have the possibility of life and renewal in this land. If Christ can raise the dead, then he can see to it that other generations of Christians can stay and live in the Holy Land as well, and that's the story of St. Lazarus. That's why we come here, and that's why we live in the hope that Christ still wants us to live here and endure despite all the hardships and despite the difficulties, that we will sing the story of St. Lazarus for years to come in this place, in this school, and in the Holy Land.
The Russians have existed in the Holy Land for thousands of years, when the Russian pilgrims began to visit the city of Jesus Christ. 200 years ago, this existence was made possible by the buying of real estate and the building of churches and monasteries. They continued to reside in the Holy Land despite the burdens which developed in the following years as a result of what was taking place in Russia.
The Russian presence in the Holy Land is over 200 years, but even already almost 1,000 years ago, 900 years ago, the first Russian pilgrim came from Russia to the Holy Land. And he returned back to Russia, and this is one of the oldest texts in Russian literature, the pilgrimage of Daniel to the Holy Land. But the Russians yearn to come and see and bow down to the holy places of the place of the resurrection of the Lord, the place of the birth of the Lord, and places like here in Bethany, the place of resurrection of Lazarus, and all the holy places. So in the past 200 years, with the possibility of transportation and such, that already thousands and thousands every year, Russians would come to the Holy Land for pilgrimage. And because of this, the Russian ecclesiastical mission was formed in the 1850s, and with the blessing of the patriarch, the Greek patriarch of Jerusalem, and since then has had a presence here.
Like many churches, the Russian Church Mission established a school for girls' education which has been running for the last 75 years.
This school was originally a pilgrim's house during the Imperial Russian era of pilgrimage to the Holy Land up until the First World War. After the First World War and the Bolshevik Revolution, this pilgrim's house fell into disrepair. In the 1930s, the school was established out of the pilgrim's hostel. It was originally meant to be a hospital for young Christian girls from across the country. Eventually, they were given education, and the real purpose of the hospital turned into a boarding school for Palestinian Christian girls, as well as other Christian women who found themselves in the Holy Land. In the 1930s, while building a new section of the school, workers found a stone that indicated that there was a chapel dedicated to the meeting of Christ by Mary and Martha before the raising of Lazarus from the dead. Therefore, this is one of 3 locations in the city of Bethany al-Lazariya which contain a chapel dedicated to the story of Lazarus.
We purchased this land, and there was a convent here, of which the convent in Gethsemane of St. Mary Magdalene came from here originally. This is the original convent. And over 75 years ago, we began a Christian school for Christian girls, for Orthodox Christian girls, which has been in existence for over 75 years. We started with 15 girls, and then the next year there were over 40, and it just kept growing. Unfortunately, with the political situation being as it is in Azariya, that most of the Christians have left. Where it used to be a majority Christians in Azariya, now there's less than 10% in even that. So unfortunately, because of that, there aren't that many Christian girls to go to the schools. So we did open up to Muslim girls, and now we have over 450 students here. But it is under the auspice of the Russian Church, the Bethany School, the Bethany Orthodox School for Girls. So with this, we hope we are also helping with the social situation here in Azariya.
Believers pray in the garden near the school. This is where the rock is located. Some of the girls who board here participate in the Mass. The nuns look after them and offer them what is needed for upbringing. Sister Martha manages the school and boarding. It's not an easy mission, but God is with her.
When I started here, I didn't know what to do. I mean, that was the situation, and I had to find myself inside of it. Nevertheless, I mean, it's not me who is working there, it's God himself, you know. So somehow it works out. Don't ask me how, but it works out. It works out.
It's a supreme mission with the best of intentions.
Being a sister, you are sent here, and it's an obedience. You have to do it. You don't think about the results. You just live the day of today, and you try to do it to the best that you can. And as a sister, even more, you are serving God, right? So that's why you are trying to do it to the best abilities that you can, you know. But in the end, I have to admit, when I look back, and I'm 11 years here, and I'm surprised myself where we are and how much we did and where we reached.
After receiving the communion, People gather in the schoolyard and in front of the monastery's entrance. The attendants are blessed with holy water, an atmosphere full of prayer and reverence. Then everyone is ushered to their places in front of the small church. The bread is distributed among the attendants who get the blessing by the Holy Cross and water, in addition to the blessing of Pope Roman, the head of Russian Church Mission, and Sister Morashka, the head sisters.